Hello, good morning, good evening. Thank you for listening. I hope you're well. This is a medical cannabis show, and today we're going to be talking about extractions. I support the law, and I hope you do too. I've got my tablet ready just for some questions, so I can answer them while still showing some slides and things. So it should be good. So, and there's a fair bit of cool news to go at the start, which is a bit of an eye-opener. Australia again, gee whiz. I'll just wait a little bit for a couple of people to get in here. Give it another 70 seconds, so you can skip 70 seconds if you're rewatching it. And thank you for rewatching it if you do. What else can I say in the meantime? I was just looking up my playlists. My playlists have a lot of free relevant material, and I was looking up that to see on some extraction stuff, because I know I've got some and they didn't pop up. So it was a bit of a letdown, because I've got, how many? I reckon a good 12, 15. And it's, what's it? Essential oil extraction is a practice that's used in this area. Righto, nearly there. Nearly 2 minutes. So yeah, and I couldn't find it, to cut a long story short, so I have to go back and have a look at that. I found one that was relevant, so you can go up in my playlists and look under, I think it's floral botany, and right at the end down the bottom there, there's a 30-minute lecture on extractions and how to do it safely, because a lot of people do it and it's got a lot of residues in there, and you end up smoking that or consuming that, and that's not good. All right, that'll do. It's waited a couple of minutes, so I'm going to get into it and share the news at the start, and then we'll get into some other fun extraction stuff. Allow, gee whiz, wrong button. Here it goes. There's the right one. Oh, and now I've got to get rid of the, make it big for you, like that. There we go. A few things to remember. Now you can see the screen. First up, Australia. What are they up to? Well, Australia have put out an article on Medical Association warns of the risk of recreational cannabis use. So see, it's recent. So it's an international article. They put it everywhere. It's just, yeah, so the whole world's legalizing it, but Australia warns about the use. Let's have a look why. Pathetic. I'm not going to read, I'll just proofread it. This is a European Kenna reporting website. So, although the no, there's some good stuff. I always just read the end bit. Oh yeah, here, the medical release. So they've actually released this in Australia. What's the AMA stand for? Australian Medical Association have released this to the press. So legal cannabis is too risky a proposition to entertain. So they proposed a bill to legalise for recreational use, but it must be shelved to avoid more people using this drug and suffering health conditions as a result. This is what's getting bloody put out in Australia. And it's media release. So this is, it just gets me so upset that the rest of the planet is doing all the right things to promote this because it's healthy for us. I do agree with this if it's street marijuana, but medical cannabis is totally different. So if you've got all the other harmful products that have been grown and put in it, pesticides, etc., PGRs, yeah, it is risky. But if it's medical cannabis, it's far from risky and it's actually beneficial. So yes, I was just just amazed. Australia is going backwards. It's and it's made me. I'm not promoting it in that sense anymore. I'm just going to speak about it because I'm sick of all the bureaucracy and all the rotten nonsense that goes on behind the scenes. It's just pathetic. There's so much evidence to suggest it's rad, but no, they don't want to bloom and listen. So South Africa legalizes it for personal use. Congratulations, South Africa. They've realized its beneficial use and they just officially legalized it. Passed by the South African National Assembly. Yeah, so Australia goes backwards. It's just, I'm not going to swear, Australia's government's too money hungry instead of health hungry. So yeah, good on you, South Africa. Anything else to say in there? No, it'll just, yeah, helps with social justice and economic growth. Yeah, there's just so many benefits anyway. Good on them. Many KZ, I think that's South Africa, farmers receive permits to cultivate it because of its legality now. So fantastic. Not only are they carbon sequestering with this helping the environment, they're also helping the public and their medicinal needs. What's Bayer up to? Well, Bayer's just been hit with a $300 million court case because of a man's cancer. Roundup is still 100% legal and commercially and governmentally used in Australia, but it's known to cause cancer. And they know that, and that's why the lawsuit was lost, but yet Australia still use it as well. Anyway, that's about it. I'm not going to go on with that one. It's a bit hard, controversial. Here's another newspaper that's put out. The Environmental Protection Association considers approving a fruit pesticide despite massive risks to children, records show. So this is an internal email that shows the lobbyists and the politicians going back and forward to promote this LD-carp. And what's LD-carp? Well, LD-carp is a carbamate insecticide, neuroinsecticide that's active as in the pesticide Temic, which does a lot of things. It kills a lot of things, but it's more so for nematodes. But what's this say? Why is LD-carp banned? Well, according to the EPA in the US, Bayer in 2010 reached an agreement to end its use because they found that the pesticide posed unacceptable dietary risks to infants and young children. Fair dinkum. So they've just gone and changed things. They're going to promote it now. There you go. Big Pharma wins again. Us people lose. So this is some Australian news. So this ex-federal police boss, Mick Palmer, has gone and said that criminalising cannabis use does more harm than good. Finally. So not only are the scientists saying it and the police heads are saying it, but yet for some reason, the Australian Medical Association is against it and saying it's actually going to cause harm. See the rot going on down here in Australia? It's bloody pathetic. So he just goes on to say how they've tried fighting and winning for so many decades and they've lost and they put people in jail that don't need to be in jail. It's actually more beneficial and all these tests are proving to say how well it works now. The ACT has been legal for some years to grow it as well. Northern Territory used to be. I lived out there and grew it out there when it was. And the conclusion is, yes, some people are trying to legalise cannabis party, and the Greens in Australia are trying, but the government, Victorian government spokesperson said it has no plans to legalise recreational cannabis use, full stop. Because they want to make more money on it first. They want to be the last people on the planet to do it. There's a good conclusion down here, though. Yeah, it just goes through a few cases. It says poor people, you know, what they've done, how they've suffered. As an old, you do to the crime, you do the time. I've journeyed. No, that's not it. He said the criminal offence of using and possessing cannabis was similarly discriminatory and damaging. So there were so many discriminatory and counterproductive policies in the last years, this federal police boss says, in Australia, that such former crimes of attempted suicide and bad things have happened. So wake up, Australian government. Next. And they're trying. Well, here's something that everybody can get involved with in Australia. They can help. They've put out a paper in the Queensland government about cannabis and driving. So they want to hear from everybody and to see why they should allow people to drive under the influence of cannabis. So they're accepting written submissions, especially you, Aaron, if you've got out there, if you're listening. This would be something that you'd like to take up on. There's your written submission, last update. I think you've got a month to do it, so I'll put this in the next few weeks to come up as well. But just like Tasmania has approved it, Victoria, I think they were doing it or looking at doing it. This is a submission that you can get into and put your say into why it should be in Queensland. Actually, I'll just stop it there. See if anyone has rocked up yet. Oh, look, Aaron is there. Hello, Mr. Fucker, how are you? Cheers from New York. Interesting. New York's going a bit bad way with their legalisation as well, mate. I'm sorry for you over there. I've shared a few things about that. G'day, Aaron. How's it going? It's absolutely crazy and pathetic. Yep, the Australian Medical Association, as Aaron writes, wrote their submission for legalisation for adult use 100% opposite from what he wrote. Well done. You believe that information. Aaron believes that the information is from false propaganda and should not be allowed to be read in Parliament. It's terrible, mate. It's really, really terrible. Thanks for that. I'll definitely, oh, sweet. Check it out. Good on you. It's sad. The amount of good news that comes out from medical cannabis, and yet Australia is just hardcore going backwards because of these damn submissions that they put out. The press release. Oh, quick, don't use it. Now, all the people who aren't educated in cannabis, which is 99% of Australia, including doctors, they will go and read this and go, all right, well, the studies have shown then that we have to listen to this. Rah. Good luck, Australians. So that's the news bit done. Yay, thank goodness. It's all my heart rate's gone up and worked up because of that flaming bureaucracy, uneducated so-and-sos that are in Australia that exist, all the bro science that gets spread around, the false bloomin'. Anyways, here's some positive. Psychedelics has cured his PTSD. So this other thing I talk about is psilocybin, which is legal in Australia now under prescription. So this went on to say he's cured it. And the way that he did, you can pay $15,000 to $25,000 in Australia and go through a trial. Well, what this bloke did, he flew to the Amazon, had a nice little stay over there, went through a week, had 3 goes of the ayahuasca, and cha-ching, he can't believe the difference. So congratulations. It does work, all this stuff. Damn government. All right, here we go. Woohoo! Into the extractions. Actually, I think I've got a fair bit more. I'll show you. This is what we've got to get through today. So there's quite a few slides. Cannabis hypomeris syndrome. Go through a bit about that. That's amazing. Actually, I'm just going to get into it. There you go. See all the cool slides and extraction stuff. Oh, a bit of Mike Tyson things too. Righto, first one. Happy Thanksgiving, all those North American cool fuck out there. Look at this one. Isn't that snazzy? The feathers. Isn't that's so cool. Yes, very good. Next one. Happy Thanksgiving. I like that one because see how it looks like a little turkey and all of its the joint sort of thing. Look at that, the little feet as well. Well done. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. This is pretty cool. I'm going to be talking about this in a few weeks. Artificial intelligence and the future in medical cannabis. Ooh, what's going on? Can robots really work well? This is a study I'll go through a little bit later on about in the States, how they've legalized the use of medical cannabis and the different types that they've done: baked, botanical, capsules, tablets, cigarettes, purified extracts, injectables. Wow. Anyway, well, that's right. There was some talk about that, which I don't want to go into because it was going to do something. Anyway, next, oils. You can put them into sweets, solutions, tinctures, topicals, or vapes. And they talk about here, this is a study actually. It's the proof page of it, but it just shows its progression. And I'll talk about that a bit later. It's interesting about these synthetic versions that are outlawed and banned in 3 US states that they're trying to promote. Oh, on the government. It's all about money, isn't it? Stuff the good consumer. The change of the types over the past 50 years. I've got so this timeline shows the past 50 years and the difference. They're into 10 each decade, 10 years blocks. And these include one cannabis-derived product. The Epilex is the cannabis-derived product, which is approved right up here in 2018. And the 3 synthetic-related cannabis products: Marinol, Syndros, and Sesamat. So don't use these. If your doctor tries to prescribe these, tell him no. They are banned in 3 US states and you don't wish to use them. But look when they were actually allowed. 1985. Can you believe that? So all these years they've been allowed to be used, and they've been outlawed now in, I think, 2018 or 19. And bang, suddenly they start to put the full spectrum ones on the market. But yet they're still sold in the rest of the 40, whatever states it is, 51 or anyway. It's the government for you. There's Mike Tyson getting stuck into the edibles a bit later on. I'll show a bit what's going on with that. Look at that. What will he try? They look pretty nice too. I don't mind my chocolate. That's today. It's the extractions, edibles, these cool stuff I'm going to show in a minute. Pot brownies. How do you get them? And CHS. So this is from a book, a legendary cool book. See the little temple balls, hash temple balls, little tiny round things. It's the size of a ring. You roll them up and you cut them open, and that's been cut open for a while because it's dark black. It should be lighter black. When you cut it in, you can see the difference from the inside to the outside. Good quality chunk. This is some press. They can press to make it. Back in the day, they used to heat it up, put it under, steam it on, and it would create that on the outside. Works quite well. That's when you put your stamps into. Look at the hashish legends. Yes, man, sitting around. And these people will be thinking, look at these druggos. Well, no. They've smoked this stuff and they've realized that their bodies work so well from smoking this stuff that why not continue smoking it? So that's the reason why. Now we know why, because it's so much medical benefits from it. So I think it's just terrible. Anyway, here's some Burmese. Here's today, all the different extractions you can do that are beneficial. Remember, below, cannabis plants are bioaccumulative, so what you extract is what it's absorbed as well. So I go through a rigorous study at the end where it shows the testing of the extraction products compared to the testing of flower. It's a massive difference. So you've got to be really, really careful if you're going to use extractions to what they've got inside of them. Because remember, it's a bioaccumulative cannabis. So if you think this is safe on the left with all these tablets and this is dangerous on the right, then you're part of the problem. Australia's, listen to that. They are part of the problem, promoting all of this false, fake news. Every 19 minutes, someone dies of a prescription drug overdose. Wow. How often does that happen in cannabis? Even street marijuana, how often does it happen? Or they get these syndromes and problems, but they don't die from it. There's a cool difference. The oil, the extractions, I thought that was a nice photo and relevant for today. Nice untrimmed looking, unfinished bud. Looks like day 40 or something. Here we go. Cannabis hyperemesis syndrome. What is it? What's the go? Is it true? Why is it there? Well, this just shows the endocannabinoids that are in the body and how it's our sixth body sense that Harvard Medical suggests that's what it is, and how they react with the cannabinoids. So they react quite well. And that's why it's been used documented for 6,000 years. But how is it not good with this cannabis hyperemesis syndrome? Hyperemesis. Okay, not even saying it right because it's bloody right. I'll just summarize it after I finish reading. So a few people I've spoken to personally have had this and say it's right. It's because uneducated doctors haven't diagnosed it well enough. This is the Australians, the two people I know in Australia. Over the past few years, or whatever, these individuals, they vomit. They recently faced adverse effects like anxiety, panic attacks, nausea, and insomnia. Now, where's the vomiting? Yes, cannabis hydrosis syndrome, while is rare, it's categorized by prodromal phase, which can last for years, and in distinct form of nausea and vomiting, because it's directly related to cannabis use, they say. So the nausea and the vomiting is related to this CHS. So if you go to the doctors and say that you've got that and use heaps of weed, that's what they'll say you've got. And that's what this, yeah, you ain't said that. And it's just all not correct. But this study has found that through balancing it out with a one-to-one, so putting in more CBD into the mixture through these people tested better. So it alleviated it. I think it's from the street marijuana, to be honest. It's because they grow up with all these different poisons, pesticides, cancer-causing agents. How does that not have adverse effects on the body? But if you grow your medical marijuana correctly, organically, the result in this shouldn't be around. Or it could be a genetic thing where, because us humans are all inbred, maybe some of us too close to each other, and they might have a gene disposition which might cause this. But I don't think it's many people have really got to worry about it. Because if you have too much of it, usually, for me, I just have to go to sleep. Oh, that's right. Summarised underneath. Here we go. Look what Daniel Fowler, PhD in cannabis science and genetics. He thinks it's pretty clear and constant. All day, daily, long-term use of high THC products is unhealthy. This person doesn't smoke. I've smoked 2 pounds for 30 years, and I'm as sharp as I ever was. So Daniel Fowler, PhD, goes on to say, you'll never see this in the industry say that, though, because these types of clients spend much more. And then another director of cultivation underneath of Curaleaf International says that he believes it's the truth as well. Isn't these so even the educated folk are uneducated in certain areas. That's the type of words that are putting out these days. You don't know what I'm thinking right now. Yay, onto the edibles. Hey, green bicycles, let's just say g'day. Green bicycles, good morning. Welcome. Hope you're well, mate. Aaron says on cannabis hyperemesis syndrome needs to be studied with the use of chemical or in the growing of cannabis compared to organically grown. Exactly right. Yes. Exactly right, mate. So perfectly said, because they've got to use all of their, all the other chemicals that accumulate in the cannabis tissue, therefore get consumed. Well said. So what else is cool to show? Oh, that's right. We're up to here. Psychedelics. Oh, that's right. We're up to the, yes, let's go up to here. So what's this bit? Testing flowers versus concentrate. Wasn't this? Oh, I actually brought up, there's an actual a full-on study at the end on it. Anyway, when it comes to testing cannabis flowers, it's primarily on the potency and terpene profiles, but simultaneously, rigorous screening for contaminants, pesticides, heavy metals, and mold ensure a safe product. But when testing for concentrates from oils, waxes, shatters, distillates, they demand comprehensive analysis beyond this potency and terpenes, because they've got solvents in them. You've got to know what they've used to extract it with, and they must be meticulously assessed to guarantee a pure final medicinal product, or it's going to come under the street marijuana, not medicinal cannabis. So that's the massive difference. So additionally, understanding the concentration, texture, and the viscous oil or the crystalline structure aids in the overall quality. So there's so much more. Australians just would be going, what? Yeah, there's a massive difference between street marijuana and medical cannabis. But this extraction thing is good because it has to be tested and to go through all the correct procedures before it can be put on the market. That's what they do in the States and Canada. What's another form of, well, it's just said about crystals. What's this THCA crystals? That's what they are. Pretty cool, pretty strong. You can grow them too, really. It's neutral taste, sugar-like appearance with a non-psychoactive properties as long as it's heated, not heated, because it's still got the A molecule attached to it, so you've got to decarb it to make it psychoactive. So what is it? It is refined until it's a pure form of your THCA. For a long story short, how's it made? Well, in the lab, they do it adding solvent, and they put it under pressure and heat, and they separate it, test it, and repeat the process of heat and pressure, which results in the crystals. What you can do is you put a jar, put liquid in. Actually, you can go to this website and read it up instead of me trying to explain it nicely. You put it in the jar with some of the extraction liquid, a few holes in the top because it's got to have some air. This person's put a pressure gauge, and it'll grow. It takes months to grow, but you'll see them growing. So what are the benefits of the THCA crystalline? Well, it's high potency. It's massive. Well, it's over 99% pure THC, so you can't get much higher. It's like isolate. But there's no euphoric effects because it's not decarbed. So you just got to decarb it. When you're smoking it, decarb it. You just got to get it up to that temperature range, you know. And it's easy to consume, but there's some drawbacks, of course, because there's no entourage effect because it's just THCA. Just like the Australian medical cannabis, how they don't realise, they haven't recognised yet, or they haven't been educated to the fact that there's terpenes and flavonoids as well as the cannabinoids. So there is a loss of the entourage effect, which most of the Australian population get because they can't smell their cannabis if they go through the medicinal market. There's a lack of flavour because there's no terpenes or flavonoids. It's just the cannabinoids in there. And it's not for beginners because it's pure, it's potent, incredibly potent. And how do you use it? Well, they suggest putting it in a carrier oil, like cooking with it, because that'll blend it out better and make for an even dose. All right, that's that one. Oh, yeah. Shatter. What's the go about Shatter? Well, Shatter's rad, as long as it's done correctly, as long as it's finished properly. So it's butane, diisode, CO2. Just use your carrier material to absorb the good properties of the medical cannabis, the cannabinoids and terpenes, and then it will hold it, and then you have to get rid of that carrier material to be ended up with the good stuff. So you'd purge it at minus, I think it's 2.5 atmospheres for 3 days, and it'll bubble up. That's what all these holes in the middle, it bubbles and pops and bubbles and pops, and then it slowly purges it all out of it, and you're left with this stinky looking goodness that's not sticky. So what is it? It's semi-transparent, amber to gold, and consistency. Yeah, it looks different. It looks clearer than rosin, so you can tell the difference between the shatter and the rosin. How to use it? That's how people famously dab it. Or you can put it in a vaporizer. It works in the Mighty, and you put it at the highest temperature. You put a drip it into it. So you break a bit off, heat it onto down a pin. The pin will run down it and drip it in your vape, and it works amazingly good. Benefits? Well, it's extremely pure and not pure. As long as there's no solvent taste, it's a good result. How to store it? Yes, it stores quite well because there's very little things to decompose and break it down, like the bud and stuff like that. Righto, next. What's the next one? All right, we'll get back to the slides. CBD gummies. They offer a delicious and convenient way to experience potentials of medical cannabis. They can be easily dosed and enjoy on the go. When you're cooking yours up, you put them into your butter or your oil. Actually, I'll go through that later. Hey, brownies. Now see here, they've got a dose rate. So after they've made them, they can have a cube and go, all right, well, I have to go to sleep. So they know they have to cut the cubes in a quarter. Then the next day, they'll try a quarter. And all right, good, this is quite good. So then they'll know their dose is about a quarter. For me, I work out what we'll get onto it because it comes onto this here. A company baked a 750-pound brownie. Massive brownie contains 20,000 milligrams. So that's a 400-kilo brownie. You can see the size of it. That's just not blown up. They're standing right next to it. That's not put there. Yes, good work to them. Oh, that's right. And that leads to this one. Brownies. What's the go with them? How do you get them? Well, if you look here, you can yield 24 of them in about 10 minutes of preparation and 25 minutes time in the oven. I'd suggest getting there's heaps of mixes that you get, and then you just put your stuff in with it. So you have to, why make edibles and just not smoke it? Because a few reasons. You might have the opportunity to smoke it. You might be going out in public all day. You might be going to an event where you respect everybody. So just by eating, it's very sublime and it doesn't smell. Also, edibles last for many hours. So if you are going on an event or out for an excursion or something like that, and you want to last, all right, it's only a 4-hour excursion, cool. We don't usually last me 2 hours. So you can go and take this and it'll last for quite a few. You do your test before it though, because I've had a few bad runs on it, like testing hash. But off the bat, that was so full on. I did that. Can I even say that story? I better not. It's pretty cool though. Be careful not to make this edibles a mistake because you can really, really overdo it. So wait an hour to an hour and a half for it to kick in until you have some more, because otherwise it just keeps getting stronger and stronger, right up to 5-hour mark. It's Yeah, it was hard for me that day. I was in welding class and it was still peaking. How to make, yeah, so you've got to, for those who don't know, to end up with this, you don't just sprinkle it in because it comes out pretty bad. You've got to use a carrier. So the carrier might be butter or oil. I prefer extra virgin olive oil. Some people prefer coconut oil because it's a higher smoke burning rate, so they can roast or burn their things up high without it burning. But I'm not a chef or anything, so I just get the cheapest extra virgin olive oil. And then it's fat soluble, so it sticks into the fat of the oil. So then after, for instance, of the oil, I'd tip it into a pillowcase and through the funnel and into the container. And if I put 1 litre in at the start, I'd expect 500 mils at the end. And it's full spectrum doing it this way because you get all your terpenes and flavonoids, which is extremely important. So and by keeping it at a low temperature rate too, you're going to maximize your terpene and flavonoids, because remember CBG and OC mean are volatile at 50 Celsius, about 140 Fahrenheit. It's the size little decarb thingo. Mix it together. Whoa, okay. Here's a calculator you can work out. So how strong is your infusion? So you go to this website, put in how much you've got at the start. So, oh wow, that's pretty cool. But anyway, you can play around with this. How much infused oil does the recipe make? How many? So that's what it'll come out with, yeah, how much it'll possibly contain per batch. So if I might give it an accurate, actually I'm not going to go through that. But regardless of what this says, you have to do your test. So with the oil, how I test mine is I'll take 2 mils in a spoon and see how that goes. The next day, all right, didn't do much, I'll take 5 mils. All right, that put me to sleep. So I'll take maybe 4 mils the next day and know that, okay, 4 mils was a good amount. So in 4 mils, I can put it in per 1 dose brownie or per 1 dose gummy or something like that. That's how I work out the amount that goes into it safely, because you don't want to overdo it. If you go and definitely don't play games on people. Really, it just does harm. If this is good for you, the person that wants it mightn't be a full-on smoker, so just give them half. Don't give them a whole dose. It makes them feel like they want to go to sleep, and it's just not the right thing to do. Next. Hey, here's a nice view. This is from Dismore in Humboldt County. Not bad, not bad. I'm surprised at the sunlight hours. They're not much. You can see the shadows from the east-west direction of the sun. Yes. Oh, into some hashish. I'll just see if there's any, it doesn't say there's any questions on that one. I'll just see if there is, just in case. No, that's all right. I'll get back into it. We're just going to see what some more extractions is now. Some yummy hashish. That's how it looks like. So it should be browner, lighter than the outside. And you can see the difference when it's, oh, look at the smoking quarters. Isn't that nice? Wow. Good times. And see, this one is a little bit, it's been aged a smidgen. That hasn't been cut open like now, because once it's cut open, it's uniformly light brown on the inside. We'll see how this is darker here and dark there, so that's been left open for a bit. That's just out of the cellar wrap. Here's some of the legends. I'm surprised that this was here. That's his familiar face from the States. You know him. And you see how this has got a bit of green to a tinge in it. I wouldn't be too happy with that extraction. That might have been done a little bit with plant materials. So I'd be looking through my microscope and having a look at that. It shouldn't look like that, or it shouldn't have a greenish tinge. It should be a browner tinge. these people, they do dry sift, and dry sift is not a clean way, or it's not the cleanest way, because as you're vibrating the dry plant material on top of the silk screens, there's a lot of contaminants that are going to go through. So by doing it in the bubble bags or water bags, that's the way that I support. You get it into your Keif powder form and then end up with this. And this is a cool way that you can do with hash too. It's chasing the dragon, where you get this, take off a bit, roll it in your hands, it goes real long and skinny. Then you wrap it around right at the end, and as it melts, it goes down. And it's still around it. So your trippy taka is just insanely enjoyable. And it should have the full spectrum profile of your hash as well, because if you've done it properly, you should be retaining all your terpenes and flavonoids and enjoying it. And this is, look at that, the hands. This is High from Pakistan. Amazing. He's a mountain man too. Hello, mountain man friend. Hey, this is a support thing. So thank you for the people that support. $5. I appreciate that. $80 gets you some private lectures. There's a good dozen of them now. 150 gets a 20-minute call and a novelty gift like a chart or something I made. And $300 is a weekly call, more so catering for the persons that are setting up their business or a patient going through doctor's problems with cannabis and wants my educated opinion. And especially in Australia, I'd have a lot more education than the doctors in this area. I'm not gloating or anything, but as you've seen, the doctors do a 4-hour course and they claim to have been certified. Here's another way you can get your extracts in infused drinks. This is quite easily, you just put it in and it would sit loosely because it's not going to be blended well, because it wouldn't blend. Being the oil, oil floats or something like that. So you'd have to really be careful on the way that you're going to infuse it and that it would blend well. Maybe not use carbonated drinks, so you could shake it up every time you're having a sip. CBD vapes or vapes. So disposable vape pens offer a fast-acting way to experience relaxation and a sense of calm. They are convenient, discreet, making them a suitable choice, and also there's no smell attained to them unless you smoke it. So from the smelling of the outside, it doesn't smell like anything bad. Can of jobs. How can these cool folk make money out of cannabis? You can do some rad artwork like this. I like that. There's heaps of little things to look at. I don't know if you've watched, I was raised with those Mad magazines and they got heaps of little tiny things in the background. I like looking at all that. That's very good. And it goes up. Look, there's even some aliens there as well. How cool. I don't know about the two-headed people, but I like the aliens. They'd be invited. Two heads would get me scared. But aliens are welcome. Next. This is pretty relevant because this shows a cart pen. So this person who sells the cart pens, they would have wanted to sell it somehow, and they still needed this graphic. So if you can do any type of graphics, you might have an opportunity to make some money. Legally, this is all about, because I promote the law. Here's a little scientific thing with some leaves shown, just to show that it's some extractions are going on. Quite relevant for today, I thought. This is just a cool art, just showing that somebody wanted an advertisement and that they've gone and made this, I think it's a raccoon on top of a tank, a happy tank. What's that little thing? It's small. And here's another cart. So cart makers, yeah, CBD is legal. MCT oil. So it's just a cart that someone's made. CBT is legal throughout the world, yes. Here's another job thing. Cool art, people. My little pothead. I think it's quite funny, actually. Goes with this one. That's a similar thing that shows the opposite. It's quite cool. is that's, yeah, you can put on mugs anywhere, anything's needed. So it's just an opportunity for someone who's into that type of thing. Dressmakers, get funky, sign people. So it's going to be needed everywhere soon. So if you've got a handy knack, even in tea bags, can you believe? And this was quite appropriate for today, I thought too, because it was infused. So they've gone and put some CBD into tea. They've added a few bits of ginger, turmeric, some other things, and there you go. Actually, it doesn't say how much. 10 milligrams per serving of tea of CBD. 10 milligrams. Wow. So it's hard. You have to start slow because, you know, can't tell too. My friend did a study with his family, and he found that his older relatives got affected off 5 and 10 milligrams of RSO, or the CBD THC oil, where he was affected in the 150s odd. So that's why they always put things down at low doses. So for us people that smoke daily, or for I'm an eyes open to eyes closed smoker, I would need a lot more, and this wouldn't do much. But this is CBD too, so it's THCC. So there's just another blend, pretty cool. Look at that music edition of something. Nice graphic, infographic. That's what it is. This is how you make it. Power your content with marketing through infographics. So that's what all these slides and things are. So if you're handy in that, you can make some money. And here's to the folk in the mighty US of A. There's a jobs provider. So the United Green is showing legal work in the cannabis field. So there you go. Good on them. It's going to be federally legal soon too. There's big stuff going through that I see in the background that I don't put because I don't get into the politics, but it's not far off. And yet Australia are debating about how, what was it a few weeks ago, remember? The pain doctors. Oh, where's that? There was an article put out in the New York Post about the 2 doctors that have told how cannabis is going backwards. So I wrote to them both and they didn't reply because they were in there. It must be coming up in the next weeks or the week after or something, because I was amazed and they didn't even acknowledge the response back. Because it's full of shit. So someone's paid them. Because remember back in the day when the tobacco companies in the States, Philip Morris and stuff, they were lying in court for 10 years. And then they got sued for many billions. And they didn't care because their scientists had got paid large monies to lie for them, but it got them all the sales they needed. And so what's to say something like that doesn't happen again? Yeah, back to the extractions. Look at that. That's Keif on the boots. Keif powder. That's a lot. But this is, it's collected well. So after the bubble hash, it's gone put into its different micron sections. And that would be, it's quite light. So that might be in the 70 or 90 micron or something like that. Very nice melt. Let's zoom into it. So once you put up your microscope under it, it looks like glass, round glass, and you shouldn't see anything in between it. It's weird because there you think, oh, it looks like brownie or something material. No, it's clear glass under the microscope. It's cool. And when you do your extractions, please label them well. As soon as you are getting ready for your extraction, that's when you label it, not afterwards. You do everything before. When you're doing your prep work, label it extremely well, because afterwards you don't know what's going on. There's all sorts of clear liquid. You don't know. And here's some live hash rosin. Live hash rosin. So live hash rosin. So they've gone and taken the plant material and frozen it pretty fast, and then they've gone and extracted it out of that. And that's why it's very light in color. It hasn't aged one bit. It's beautiful, and would the full spectrum of that live rosin is just amazing. How can I describe it? It's the most tastiest I've ever smoked. It's like as if somebody's added something to it, and you've got a little bonus. And why is it so tasty? That's because it's just has its full spectrum profile. So much is degraded and lost in the post-harvest practices. Live resin and isolate. Oh yeah, so there's some tincture in the background. It's a THC infused syrup tincture. A lot of that's with alcohol, and they retain the alcohol. So I don't agree with that. Well, because most people like alcohol, I don't. So alcohol's never helped me. So they just got to purge it to get it more out of it, and it comes into the clear form. What's this? Live resin. Just a cart. I like that other cart. It's probably that same cart or this cart. Yeah, they're huge in the States. When they'll get big in Australia too, because a lot of companies will fail that they grow. So once they fail, they put it through extraction. Once they get onto it, so they have that big container before, and they'll go and have those pipettes that has the measuring thing on it, and they'll suck it up, tick, 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 tick. Bang, there you go, $50 a go. So this is how the machine they get. So I get one like this. I'll have their carrier fluid, their solvents in there, and that cycles through and extracts, and it goes through different chambers, and on each different chamber has a different, like an add-on. You can get an add-on to get this, to collect that. You get an add-on to collect this. You get an add-on to collect that. So that's basically how it's done. See here, this is where it would be going back into its the original carrier form. So they might use some liquid to extract that, ethylene or something, as an example. Most of it's CO2 extraction, though. All the big proper people that this isn't a very big machine, though. But it's still a lab, and they're probably doing it, processing it here legally, as you can see. Good on them. What's these looking blooming things? These are called moon rocks. Cool as, eh? So you can see on the outside, it's got all your Keif. On the underside might be, or it should be bud, but it might be, because these are very sticky quite well. Actually, they're cracking in the middle. They're called moon rocks, but that looks like it's solid, like the whole thing is in this form. Oh well. Anyway, I don't know everything about everything. What's this oil business? So the oil, cannabis oil, is known for its versatility in promoting overall wellness. It can be used to support a calm mind and provide relief from daily stress. It also helps when you mix THC and CBD together to make for cancer reduction. Simply place a few drops under your tongue for quick absorption and potential benefits. And it can be stored for years in oil, where if you're storing flour, even without oxygen, in freezer-right conditions, you're only going to get months out of it, let alone in a jar which has been opened every day or so. You'll notice the terpene profile will change after about 8 weeks to 10 weeks, meaning that the terpenes have altered state. So medicinal properties might have changed or have changed. This fella says, a good friend of mine fighting Crohn's disease found his answer with cannabis oils. When he shared this result using CBGA and CBD crude oils, he asked for some and he had immediate results. I promote good health. CBGA with CBD helped this person fight Crohn's disease, and that's a debilitating gut disorder. So if you can put some weight on and help with that, medical cannabis works with that. Look at that. There's some there. But not in Australia. No, apparently it doesn't. Hey, Tyson, what's up? Tyson, he's checking out his new section. He's got a medical cannabis grow in the States. I think it's in California. Those Americans can help me. But yeah, he's going through looks like there's the gummy assortment. Ooh. done a nice extraction. They put it in the carrier and then just gone and made these back up. Just tip into the molds. It's quite easy. Yes. You wouldn't want to say his stuff's poor or not very good, would you? Does it smell good? Yeah, it smells good. Look at that. Give me a fist bump. This is a squirrel-tailed tie stick. So you can see it is a legit one because it's still got a seed in it. That's like back in the day, you're looking at something that, 20 years ago was common. And it just looked like that. Or it would look compressed, it was called. And it'd be a block of compressed. And then you peeled it off and it would all be compressed together. So you had to push them against each other and it makes them fluff out again. Yeah, there's some old school, different ways. I'm just reading it. Huh. Very good. Oh, and here's some, this is some THC isolate in the jar. So after you could do your extraction, you leave a little bit in here before purging some off. With it, you don't put that much liquid in it, just put a little bit. And then these sit on top and they will just grow. They get bigger. You just see in a month, they'll grow about my cursor. For 3 or 4 weeks, they'll grow out about that much. It was big, I think, when it first came out, but now I don't hear about anybody doing it. Not that I mix with the circles, but topicals. What's the go with the balm? Well, topicals is specifically formulated to provide potential relief from muscle soreness and discomfort. It can be partially helpful after workouts. Athletes are getting right into it, just especially the CBD topicals, and helps with muscle support. Simply apply a small amount to the affected area and let it work its magic. That's the last of the slides. There's got to be some more up on the screen. Yes, the topicals. How does it work? Well, this talks about the CBD because it's nearly legal everywhere, but you can get it in THC as well. Consuming like edibles, gummies, topicals, tinctures, and more. Oh, what are CBD sprays? Put them under your tongue. You can put them through the cheek, put them in the nostril, or on the skin. They use carrier oils like MCT oil. That's it. There's your blooming stuff done. So there's types of sprays: oral, nasal, topical. I use topical quite well. CBD sprays. Some people use it for all types of disorders. Potential side effects: drowsiness. Well, I couldn't see that. If you're using a CBD spray, you can't get drowsy. So whoever's written this, just see, there's so many abnormalities everywhere. It's just it's a real big letdown, the whole industry. You might get some adverse, that might react bad. How does CBD spray? Because the reason why you don't get drowsiness is it's not a psychoactive. THC is. Mind you, it could probably react with someone and just cause. I bet you there's one case of one doing it so they can put it in there. Science is science. How to choose the right sprays for you. Well, really, you want to see how well it's been tested. So you'd be buying, if I was buying them off a website, I'm spending good money. This is my medicine. I want to know their certificates of analysis. So you want to have to see if it's safe and pure. So somehow go onto their website and look for, contact them, and that's what I'd be saying. I want your latest certificates of analysis for the batches that you're currently selling, and know that the batch that you have has that, because there's so many batches come out that have just got problems with it. Dosage accuracy, extraction method, types of CBD. Oh yeah, here a pain specialist asked me a while ago, why is one of his patients reacting differently to the CBD spray? And my suggestion was that because they said that nothing had changed. And I says, well, what had changed was the way that it had been grown and the secondary metabolite profile or its post-harvest productions. It went through a different different handling practices and growing practices to alter the profile. And that's why the spray wasn't effective anymore to this person. So it has to make sure that the batches that you're getting are the ones that have been tested. Type CBD, okay. Next, I use your Rick Simpson oil, the RSO. That's the stuff that's really rad with cancer. So it comes in little tiny miniature 1 ml syringes like that. You're supposed to have a grain of rice at the end. And for me I had tried one in Canada. They just got a new batch in this dispensary and they said, oh, you want to try some? I was at the back trying them. I said, yeah, right. And I had to go, and 4 hours later, or how many hours later, I was driving and I had to stop on the side of the road and go to sleep, and had a couple of hours sleep and woke up because it was too strong for me. So I'd know then I wouldn't take a grain of rice. I'd have to take half a grain of rice because this batch was just worked too well with me. So this is pretty in-depth about RSO. I'm going to talk about it next week when there's more anti-cancer terpenes that they've brought up with a new study. So we'll just go in here if you want to get into it. Oh, look, there he is. There's Rick himself, the legend, Rick Simpson. He saved so many people's cancer lives, it's not funny. Honestly, it works so well. So that's what I'm going to go into next week with some studies and stuff like that, and just show how well it works and what it does and how it stops the growth of the cells, the cancer cells, and can kill them. Apoptosis. So if you want to read this on how to make it, you can ask questions on how to make it and I'll answer you. But I'm not going to go into detail here. So there you go. There's the website. Press pause and look at that. What's the next slide? Here's a good study. The US FDA administration perspective on research and drug development in cannabis. So they've gone and done this. Oh, where's the date? Received, published October 31, a few months ago. So what's the drug development research, the status? Okay, yeah, it's history, good on research area. This is where that other slide comes from. So this is what they're mostly focused on, is addiction and pain medicine. So they know it works for pain, like the Australian doctors don't know. Can you believe that? I'd feel so dumb and retarded if I put that out, knowing that everyone in the world has said it and there's so many studies suggesting it. Anyway, it's amazing how the mighty dollar rules, isn't it? We'll give you $1 million if you do. Oh, okay. Next slide bit is that other one which we showed before about how the synthetic drugs are being banned in 3 US states, and now they're starting to introduce more. All the topicals and edibles and all the extraction, all these other extractants that you can get, tinctures. Over time. Yeah, because if you've got a lung problem, that's how you'd have your medical cannabis, would be through extracting some type of extractants. So you can still use it if you've got lung problems. Discussion. I think that's right. There's a really good conclusion down here. Positive conclusion, finally. Where is it? The FDA will continue to encourage robust clinical research on cannabis and cannabis-derived products. The agency supports sound, scientifically based research in the therapeutic uses of this, and will continue to work with companies interested in bringing safe, effective, quality drug products to the market. FDA believes that this drug development and approval process represents the best way to ensure that safe and effective new medicines are available to patients in need of appropriate medical therapy. This includes drugs that contain cannabis and cannabis-derived compounds. The Australian bloody, if it doesn't smell, you've got no cannabinoid and terpene profile, or you've got such a low one that you might as well just take tincture or isolate, you know, stuff that it's not full spectrum. It's from living in Canada for 5 years, it's taught me a lot, and it taught me how Australia is very blind-eyed to it, and it's mega sad for the public. I'm sorry to be an Australian for that reason. This is the last slide for today, and this just shows that if you have a problem with your cannabinoids, you can still go elsewhere. Scientists find cannabis compound inside a totally different plant. Well, they've found CBG in a common Brazilian plant called Trema mercurantha bloom. It's a shrub which grows in a lot of South America. So there's quite a few of them, plants that have cannabinoids in them, and at very low amounts, like liverwort. That has THC in it, actually, liverwort. And yeah, so this one has CBD in it. So this says increasingly used for some to treat epilepsy, chronic pain, and anxiety. So isn't that weird that they can treat this one with chronic pain and people get results out of it, but in Australia it just doesn't work? Wow, is that the case, doctor? Well, the doctor says, yeah, it must be true. But why does it work with everybody else on the planet, doctor? Oh, they must be all wrong. Listen to me, we're in Australia. We do studies here. Yes, it's welcome to Australia. Into the dumb. Anyway, I'm going. There you go. That's about it. Is there any questions or anything? Cannabis hyperemesis syndrome. There was one extraction thing. Expired terps. No. Just looking for another thing, another slide here that I had just reminded me from ages ago. I had this massive list of no. I'm still trying to have a look while you're thinking of your questions and things. No, it's not here. Okay, sorry about that. Oh, there it is, right at the end. Yay, so I'll just cut and paste that one. Cut. Paste. Doing this live. Copy. Paste. Now I'll bring that one up. And this is, I'll go back and share the screen. Share screen, here it comes. So this will be the last slide, unless someone asks some questions for today. Here it is. This is how I should have started. I forgot about this one. I had this for ages ago. What is your favorite type of cannabis extract concentrate? So there's butter, shatter, diamonds, crystals. There's Keif, wax, honey. That looks like it's been cooked or something. Not sure, but yeah, there's quite a few different examples of cannabis that you can use. So you don't have to smoke the flower. You can go and do this. And if you're legal in your area, you can process it and you can end up with this. And the lighter, the fresher it is. And you'll find with if it's darker, it just means it's a bit more aged. The flower has been sitting around for longer. Yay, I showed it. I've had that for months. Well, probably a year, I reckon, that one. Because you have to be careful with extractions because it's, not quite, just got to respect the law is a good way to put it. Ned Kelly. Nice to see you, Ned Kelly. Great stuff again. Thanks for your efforts, mate. Thank you too. Appreciate your good, nice words. The shows in the next few weeks, I've already put up. How long have we going for today? Oh, it's been an hour. You beauty. And 6 people. Oh, plus 2 of me watching. Thank you for the 4 people that are watching. I appreciate that. I'll show you what the following few weeks are coming up. Then I know much. It's going to be through Christmas time. It'll be a open stream. open topic. Am I sharing? Oh, yeah, I am. So next week is anti-cancer and disinfectants for viruses study. Because last week I spoke about HLDV, hot latent virus disease, and how can we use our scissors and things down the future, because it sticks, the hot latent virus sticks to the outside of things on the buds and stuff, which will stick on your scissors. So you'll transfer it before you know it's on your garden. So how do you keep sterile conditions up? So people who've gone to the dispensaries and got the bud there, that might have been grown under those conditions. It's got some of the viroids on it. So how can they with sterility? So that's where I go through a study that made me search after it last week's and change my practices, because I was using ISO all the time, and there's some studies that suggest ISO isn't 100% effective. So I had to put a bleach bottle as well and have to use both. But anyway, this is a good study that goes through that. Next week after that's an open topic. Next week's the future. There's some future in artificial intelligence. That's going to be rad. And look at that, Christmas and New Year's. They're open, I reckon. Not going to prepare anything for them. I'll slowly still get my news each week, but I'm not. I think it's just in general. So look at all these other slides down here I've got to somehow get through. Ones I've saved that haven't been put in a good theme yet. They haven't been themed to keep it a nice flowing show, like today's theme was extractions. Yeah, right. So that's what's going to happen for the next few weeks. Hope you all like that. No questions? All right. That might be it. I appreciate everybody for listening and for taking the time to put some nice words in the chat. I appreciate that. Thank you. I hope you all are here next week, and I'll see you then. Have a good week. Happy breeding, happy growing, and good health to you all. Bye-bye.